Hi everyone, I'm here today with Drew Teicheira. He's a realtor here in Orange County and a good friend of mine, and I'm going to ask him a little bit about his business and kind of how you got started.
Yeah, thanks for having me today, Megan. So I was born and raised in Napa Valley. I moved down here, went to Long Beach State. My dad was a custom home builder up in Napa. My stepmom founded Napa Valley Design Studio. And so I've been around custom homes and residential real estate my whole entire life. I studied engineering in college.
So did I, nice.
And I think that gives me an edge on everybody in my industry quite a bit, because I know how houses were built and I know how they're designed. And, it's just knowing the ins and outs of the industry definitely helps me quite a bit. So I've always been interested in construction. Before I got into real estate, I actually got my real estate license while I was in college.
Okay.
And so I always wanted to get into it. I originally wanted to just start buying rentals. So I've had a passion for having cash flow, and that was kind of early in my career. I was like, I want to just buy rentals, right? So I don't have to work anymore, really.
I love it, okay.
So that's where it all started. And in college, I was the head of a couple engineering teams.
Okay.
So I've always been super competitive. I played a little bit on the water polo team at Long Beach State, top 5 in the country. And then when I quit water polo, I went full force into these engineering competitions. And so we'd go compete in Dallas and up in Reno every year. We started in 18th place when I joined the team, and we took 2nd place in a national competition my senior year of college. So I just love the competitive environment. I think that's what actually made me quit the engineering construction industry and get into real estate. And I love being on the end of a deal where everybody's happy, right? Mm-hmm. Construction's people get a little upset at contractors. You build this beautiful house,
right?
And somebody walks in and they pick out all the problems with it,
right?
And I watched my dad go through that his whole entire life, and I didn't really want to do that again, or go through that.
Okay, I didn't know you were an engineer. So wait, what type of engineer were you?
Construction engineering management.
Oh wow, okay, amazing. And then, so you still did the real estate thing in college too, though, because you kind of knew you wanted to get into that.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today, having a passion for rentals, myself, I'm 32 years old. I own about $10 million worth of rentals.
Okay.
And I have real estate here in Newport Beach. And, I think when it's important to have somebody that's kind of obsessed with the industry when you're working with them, right? Having rental properties, knowing about Airbnbs, knowing how to flip properties, knowing about subjects to and assumable loans, and all aspects of real estate is what I'm really obsessed with. I love the industry. So if my clients make money,
right,
I make money. So any way that I can figure out a new way to bring value to my client and expand my awareness in the industry and so that my clients can make more money, then it's a win for me.
Amazing. So what aspects of working in real estate, specifically in Newport Beach, do you find most fulfilling?
I know I've touched on being competitive. Like, I just love winning for my clients. I really do. And if you look at everybody that owns a house here in Newport Beach, they've gone through so much sacrifice to get to where they are today. And me personally, I'm going through that phase of my life right now. And they understand the hustle. They really do. And I'm in the midst of it, and I work tirelessly during the week, during the weekends. I answer calls at whenever around the clock. And my favorite thing, I think, is learning how my clients got to where they are today. I think that's one of my favorite things, right? And winning for them when they're either selling their house or buying their next one.
Yes. Let's talk about cold calling, actually, because
Okay.
I know that you do a lot of cold calling. So can you kind of go over how you do that? Because a lot of people are intimidated by cold calling and they don't want to, get rejected, or they don't want to put the time in, but you kind of have a method to your madness, right?
Yeah, I mean, cold calling really is, it's just a great, efficient way to meet people. When I moved here, I knew absolutely nobody. And I knew this was a super hard market to penetrate. And I was knocking on doors, making an immense amount of cold calls. And I still do both. I still knock on doors, I still make cold calls. And that was my easiest route to meet people and earn their trust and be able to do business with them. So, and that's what I teach at the brokerage now. So I'm not only a real estate agent, but I own a hard courts brokerage in Newport Beach and Laguna Beach. We've got 40 agents that work there.
Wow.
And so we teach cold calls and we teach old school prospecting because it's the way, this is a hustle game. It really is.
Right, very competitive.
Very competitive. The deal flow is so low right now, the amount of inventory and the amount of transactions that are happening in Orange County. Ever since 2021, we've got hardly any inventory, so people have to be aggressive. You're gonna win way more business being aggressive than you are waiting for the phone to ring.
Right.
And that's just something that I've embodied, and I will literally call people and follow up with them until their phone breaks. I mean, I've been in listing appointments where, this is a funny story actually. This is one of my favorite stories, and this is one of my favorite clients still to this day. And he's just a friend of mine, right? I say clients, but it's really an interchangeable word with friends because I don't do business with people that aren't my friends. And you want to work with an agent that is your friend, right?
Absolutely.
So I cold called this guy 67 times before I got through the front door over a whole 2 years, right? And this was a deal down in Costa de Casa that I ended up selling for $2 million. And I remember the first interview I had with him, and I was definitely the least experienced. I was 25 at the time, and this was one of my first deals that helped me become successful in this industry. And he sat me down, and he's an old school sales guy, and he goes, "You know why you're here today?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because you called me 68 times, and the next guy below you only called me about 25 times."
Amazing. Okay.
And so he
appreciated it.
He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it. And most people do that are old school sales guys. I mean, sales is a great method to make a lot of money, and most of these guys have sold something, or women,
Had to hustle.
or women have sold things sold businesses, whatever it is, right? To get to where they have been today and have the success they have today to be able to afford the homes here, right? So that's one of my favorite stories. And when you see something that works out time and time again, like now I know I've got it down, and this is boring for most people, but I know if I make 1,000 calls, I'm gonna have one person that I for sure can do business with, right? So now it's just a numbers game for me, and my statistics are just getting better and better as days goes on because I'm sharpening my skills, my team is sharpening their skills, and we're just getting better and better, right?
Okay, so what's the current state of the market here in Orange County?
Current state of the market is, well, in the last 2 weeks, it's become a little bit stale.
Okay.
But the current state, and we could talk about statistics all day long, but if you go back in time, there used to be about pre-COVID levels, 2017 to 2019, there used to be 6,500 homes in Orange County on the market at a time, which is a balanced market between buyers and sellers, and you're seeing prices kind of staying the same, right? And maybe increasing on average 4 to 5% a year, okay? Post-COVID levels, we're at about 3,000 homes on the market. So half the amount of inventory, and that's the moving average since 2020, right?
Wow.
So a lot less deals happening. The Orange County was the #1 appreciating market in the United States last year.
Wow.
At 12%.
Okay.
So this place is a vault. Newport Beach is the crown jewel of Orange County. So the state of the market is get in now, right? If you're a buyer, buy now.
It's not going down.
It's not going down.
Okay.
It may come down a little bit,
Okay.
but in the long run, you're always going to win here. There's 15,000 homes in Newport Beach. 15,000 homes. That's not a lot of homes.
Right.
That's single family residences.
Okay.
So it just takes a very small amount of people to keep increasing the prices on these properties.
Do you think we have an influx of people coming to Orange County?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just from
Absolutely.
all over, LA or?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, not to get political, but
Right.
this is a safe, where else in the world is you've got the safe neighborhoods, great schools, you've got the best beaches.
Clean roads.
Clean roads. You can go buy a Rolls Royce and be at the beach in the same day, right?
Yeah.
And you've got great communities, and this social network here is the best.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So and you know that. And so just to be a part of all that and being around like-minded people that will bring value to you and help you make more money, and not only that, but be good friends this is the best place to live in the world, in my opinion.
I agree. I love it here. Okay, so let's tell everybody why work with you.
Why work with me? I would say, your real estate agent should be bringing an immense amount of value to you. And if they're not available around the clock for you, like I said earlier, I'm in the sacrifice stage of my life. Like, I don't have kids, I don't have a wife. Like, I work on the weekends at night, and I will hustle until you get the results that you want as my client. That's it. I mean, and I've done it time and time again. I sold a $13 million house this year, right?
Amazing.
House was listed in, my client wanted to live in the Strand. House was listed at $14,500. We got it for $13,350. It was my biggest deal ever. I made a ton of money on that deal. But the client saved $1.15 million.
Wow.
So he bought it for $13,350. And I knew it was such a good deal. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway. I didn't get a call from the main listing agent once during that transaction. I would talk to the team member the whole deal, which is crazy to me. I still, post-closing, I still haven't got a call from the listing agent to say, hey, thanks for bringing over your buyer for $13 million, right?
Well, that's interesting.
That's crazy to me.
Okay.
So, and that gives me a lot of energy to keep working and providing a lot of value to my clients, because I would never let that happen.
Right, me
ever.
either.
If I get my hands on any listing, I'm doing a deal in Big Bear for $300,000, and I'm on the phone with my client all day long, right? So I would never, ever let that happen. And I just want to continue to win for my clients and bring bring either a record-breaking sale or save them a ton of money on a negotiation. And that's what happens when you work with somebody that just is experienced and has sold hundreds of millions in real estate. Like, I truly believe in this market.
Right.
My money's here.
You're invested.
I'm invested. All my money is in real estate, literally. I've got no money in the stock market.
Like a lot of people
Like
in
a lot of
California.
people, yeah.
Okay, so I guess my next question would be, can you kind of tell us about some success stories or recent wins you've had?
Yeah, of course. Well, that was a huge win this year.
Yeah,
right?
that does sound like a big one.
That was a favorite. But let's go back to a house that I sold on Balboa Island, okay? And this is a great success. So my client closed, and they bought a house for $1,400 a foot, right? Mm-hmm. And we beat the seller up. It was, I know that we've done a deal together on Balboa Island, but I'm going to start with this one first, okay?
Okay.
And this seller took a fan out of one of the bedrooms, okay? And it was a $4,000 fan. And that's considered a fixture, okay? Even though we beat the seller up and we got a great deal on the house, at the end of the day, my client made a comment about the fan that was gone. And I said, well, I don't like that, right? And you said, don't worry about it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And I went back to the agent and I argued and argued and argued. And this client had told me a couple times, don't worry about it. Just let it go. Let it go. He got a check in the mail for $4,000.
For the fan.
For the fan, like 2 weeks later.
Good job.
And that's how you win a client for life.
Right.
He loves me.
Took care of him, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and you gotta like who you work with, you know? And so we hang out. I hang out with my these are my friends, you know? Go to dinner with them, golf with them, hang out.
Strong relationships.
Strong relationships, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we talk about our...
Yeah, let's talk about our deal.
Okay.
I love that we did a deal together and we didn't even know we were in the middle of it.
Right.
And I think that's part of just being busy in your field like you are and like I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to run into people naturally and organically that are just like moving and doing a lot of business. And I loved that we organically did that. And when the sellers who I was contacting and talking to, and I found this deal off.
Yeah, my clients.
Your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
So you had clients that were, somebody passed away,
yes,
right?
correct. So
and
in the middle of a trust administration.
Right.
Yep.
So, and I didn't know that. And I just saw that there was an estate sale going on Balboa Island, right? So estate sale means something happened. I didn't know if it was a death or, it's a tricky situation because you can really upset somebody if you're too fast and you know, you come off too salesy or whatever that the case might be, right?
Right.
And that's kind of the art of phone skills and being a good real estate agent or just being a good salesperson
right.
over.
They call it emotional intelligence today, I guess.
Emotional intelligence, right. So there was an estate sale. I called the daughter of the deceased mother, right, who was a real estate agent in Texas, and we just talked agent to agent, and I could tell it was very recent, and I felt pretty bad about that. But if you're not the first one to call, then everybody kind of swarms on the listings, right? So I was one of the first people to call. I said, hey, look, I do have a client that's super interested in this property. If you have any interest in selling, just please let me know, and I promise that we will have a super smooth transaction. And we got that deal done. I mean, it was
you moved quick.
It was super quick. We had an offer to them that same day, even though that they said they needed some time. She called me back pretty quickly and said, just let's get an offer. We'll take it. So it was a little bit of a tricky sale. It was a contingent offer, but ultimately got the success that our clients were.
You pretty much got that deal because you were out hustling and you were busy and already doing other stuff. So it pays to put the energy out there and be working away.
Exactly. You got to drive the streets. You got to know the neighborhoods. And if you don't have an agent that's willing to door knock for you or cold call for you or network for you, let's just say you're looking for a house right now, right?
Yep.
If I'm not willing to go find something or let you know if that next property that's going to be coming on the market in that neighborhood because I've talked to every seller, then you need to find the agent or call me that's going to do that for you, right? Because that's being a good agent. And in this very busy industry and convoluted industry, that's providing an immense amount of value. If I say, hey, Megan, there's a house coming up for sale before it hits the market so that you have the first opportunity to see it and put the offer in, and I'm talking directly to the seller or the agent that's bringing the house to the market and giving you the first light at showing it, that's the best agents. And that's why there are some really good agents, and that's who you want to be working with. People have to stop working with their friends and family members because they're ultimately costing them so much money in the end. I think that's the biggest downfall people have in this industry.
I get it. Okay, so my next question kind of is so how did you build out your team? And you're located here in Newport Beach on PCH.
That's right.
And so I'm kind of curious, how did you build the team out? Where does the name come from?
Harcourts?
Yeah.
So Harcourts is, I love Harcourts. So have you ever been to Australia?
I have not been to Australia yet.
Okay,
I think I'm Australian, but I have not been to Australia.
Let me tell you something. Australian people are my favorite people in the world.
Okay.
I've been there twice, and Harcourts is an Australian brand. So
okay.
It came over 15 years ago, and I met the owner, and I've been back there twice now.
Okay.
And if I had to live anywhere else in the world, it'd definitely be Australia.
Okay.
The people are amazing. They're so trustworthy, and they're just good, honest, hardworking people. And that's who I want to surround myself with.
Okay.
And I also think that the American way of doing and selling homes is a little dated. In Australia, we have a luxury auction sales platform that we use to sell homes. So that's they sell homes every 2 weeks in Australia. They have 40 homes that people come in for, and they bid on them in person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's electric. It's so much fun, and people have an open bidding. And the seller's there, and he's watching people bid on the properties.
Okay.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Interesting. Okay.
And so we sell with a luxury auction platform here.
Ah, okay.
So this is for any of the sellers out there that their houses have been sitting on the market for a very long time, and you're frustrated and you're not bringing offers to the table, or your agent isn't bringing offers to the table, then they should consider this process.
Okay.
Rather than listing high and being expected to negotiate down off a list price.
Okay.
We do all the home inspections, disclosures, everything that typically happens in escrow. We've got an auction date that's set 4 weeks out from when we list the property.
Okay.
We have open houses leading up into that auction date. So we're accepting offers on day one. So if we get an offer that makes sense to you as the seller in the first day of listing the property, then you're able to accept it. And what that does is it creates an immense amount of leverage.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know about this. Okay.
Somebody can come into one of my open houses after I have 3 or 4 offers on the table, or even just one offer on the table, and I can say to them, hey, look, if you like this property, I suggest getting an offer on the table as soon as possible, because we do have offers on the table that potentially could stop the auction. What does that do? It creates fear of loss.
Right.
It creates buyer, they have a sense that somebody else is willing to spend it, right? So so when you have one property and you're one buyer, you are a little skittish to step up and pay list price, right? So when you've got buyer's confidence because somebody else wants it too, you're able to push the prices up, and people get caught up with the emotions of an auction, and we end up pushing the price up to at least market value, and sometimes we can even push things over market value because we have 2 families that have already pictured themselves living in the property, and they're very emotionally interested and invested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, how can you tell when people walk into a house and they want it? Like
absolutely.
They're
you can see it
sold,
light up
right?
in their eyes. Yeah. And I work my own open houses most of the time.
Okay.
And so when you work with somebody that does that, they can get a good read on everybody. Like you said, have a very high emotional intelligence. I think that's something I'm very good at. I know when somebody's going to be able to close on something. And I know when somebody really wants it, and I can push them a little bit higher, right?
Right.
And create ultimately that success for the seller if I'm representing them. Yeah.
Okay. What are some pitfalls buyers and sellers fall into when they're in the market? Yeah,
buyers and sellers, they use their friends and family that are not active agents in the industry. And if your agent is not willing to knock streets, cold call, and network so that you have the next opportunity to live in that area or that street or that neighborhood or that cul-de-sac or that single house, then you got to find the next person, because somebody's willing to do it. And I definitely am willing to do it.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree. I can see that. If you pick a family member, maybe they're not as invested in the best outcome. Not that I'm saying some probably are, but you don't necessarily have the best advocate for the current neighborhood that you like or whatnot.
Well, you want to work with an expert.
Right.
Somebody that like I said, I own a lot of rentals. Like since day one, when I was 25 years old, every time I could save enough money to buy a rental, I would. I'd invest in real estate.
Smart.
Joshua Tree, Lake Havasu. I bought a house in Joshua Tree for $355.
Wow.
13 months later, I sold it for $720. I bought the house next door. That was another success. I bought a house in Lake Havasu for $500,000. I sold it for $900. And now I have a bunch of rentals in Florida. So like, I've had a lot of flipping experience.
Okay.
I come from a background of engineering and flipping experience with my father.
Okay.
And I've done the projects myself. So I see houses with a different lens. And I'm an investor, so I'm never gonna put my client in a position where they're gonna lose money. And when you have the lens of an investor and somebody that actually owns real estate, you're gonna make sure that your client's always gonna win. And that's what I always do. My clients never lose. We don't lose.
I like it. Okay. So I want to ask about Newport Beach. So I live here in Newport Beach, and so do you. And I'm just curious, what's your favorite neighborhood, or do you have one?
Well,
yeah,
several,
of course.
Of course I have one. I love the ocean. I jumped in the ocean this morning. I went on a beach run and jumped in the ocean. Newport, it was a little chilly, but like, I love it down here. I love being next to the water. That's just who I am. I've been scuba dive certified since I was 10 years old. So I have to be in the water and close to it. So I don't think, like, for me at this stage of my life, like living up in the Port Streets or in Dover Shores, it just doesn't suit me, even though I love those neighborhoods. Love them. One of my best friends lives in Dover Shores. I'm up there all the time. I sold him his house. And but for now, I just want a place next to the water. And that's what I have. That's what I got last week. I got the beautiful ocean view.
I know, it's amazing. So are there like certain neighborhoods in Newport that stand out over others, would you say? Just for people listening that are curious about Newport Beach.
Yeah, it depends on what your goals are, really. Do you want a house with a dock, or do you want a house on the sand? There's 700 houses on the sand. There's 1,500 with a dock in Newport Beach on the bay. That
doesn't seem like that many.
No. So, you know, you've seen them sell for 3 years ago. They were selling for $5 million and $6 million and $7 million, and now they're selling for $14 million, $20 million, and $35 million. So there's just such a finite resource of these houses. They're not going down in pricing, right? So really, just it depends what your goals are.
What's unique to having a property in coastal California?
It always goes up.
Okay.
This is a vault.
Okay.
Newport Beach is a vault. I said earlier, it's a crown jewel of Southern California, and I love it here. And your money is so safe here. Like I said, Orange County was the number one appreciating market in 2023 at 12%.
Okay.
I guarantee it's the same in 2024. Everybody is moving here. There's 3.2 million people as a population. There's 15.5 million people in LA. People are moving here. It's becoming a little bit more dense, which is okay.
Okay.
But coastal real estate is just an asset that's just always going to go up in value.
Do you so can we talk about like a challenging transaction and how to, deal with it and overcome it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just curious because, I'm sure
there's always challenging things. And a lot of people they see real estate agents and they see, oh, well, they made a lot of money and they probably, didn't do very much, right? That $13 million deal that I closed this year, nobody knows that I've been working with him for 6 years and he canceled escrow twice, one day before Christmas on a $7 million deal.
I'm sorry.
Imagine that Christmas.
You're like, no Christmas present this year.
Yeah. So it's challenging to stay resilient and get rejection and get no's and have things not go your way. Because when you don't, my biggest advice to anybody, and this I think goes for anything, is I never get attached to outcomes. You just stay process oriented, and I think that goes for me making cold calls, making my follow-up calls, and staying consistent with my clients. Like when I have a fiduciary to my clients, which I do in every transaction, and I only want the best for them, if my client cancels escrow because it's not right for them, that's okay. I say, I understand. That's all right. It's not what's best for you and your family. I totally see where you're coming from, and we'll get the next one. You know, that's how I ate that.
Yeah.
That's how I ate that on Christmas, the day before Christmas.
And you got the next one.
And I got it 4 years later.
Okay.
So, you know, I got another deal coming up in Westside, and somebody came and knocked on their door and offered them, and I'd been working on this listing since 2019.
Okay.
I've been following up this person since 2019. 6 or 7 meetings with them. It's finally the time is right. Pod goes in the front yard. Okay? Somebody knocks on their door and says, "We've got an all-cash buyer for you," and they're going to take the offer. So, can you imagine the feeling of that? You're like, "Oh, that's a bummer." You know what I said? I said, "I completely understand. You have to do what's best for your family, and if it's not working with me, then that's what it is." And that's what the things that I understand when they got into this industry.
Yeah.
And I don't need to close a deal tomorrow. I don't need to close that house. I want people to actually do what's best for them, and I want to do what's best for people.
Yeah, so I'm really hearing that it comes down, in order to be a successful realtor here in Newport Beach, with all the competitiveness, is basically, are you likable? Do people want to do business with you? How hard are you willing to work? And it's all about the relationship. So it sounds like you're doing great.
Thank you.
I know you're a really hard worker, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today. So we know each other through Newport Beach Foundation, which is an organization that helps with networking in the community, learning about the community. Can you just tell everybody kind of why you think networking in the community is so important to real estate and your job, and making sure you're providing the best service?
Yeah, of course. So you have to know you have to keep your ear to the ground of what's coming up next in Newport Beach or Orange County, so that you just stay relevant and know what upcoming events are happening and what's happening in the community, and you grow your network. And I think growing your awareness as a real estate agent and growing your network of people is the most important thing, because you just know what's up and coming. You know what the next hot restaurant is coming up. You know if there's anything coming down the pipeline from just a governmental standpoint, from ADUs coming up. The ADUs has been a huge controversy because people don't want the more density, right? And Newport Beach has needed to get a lot more doors, if you will, so that they have enough to show to the state that we have enough housing requirements for everybody, even for people, what am I trying to say here? Yeah. There's a housing shortage.
Right, people need housing.
And there's a housing shortage. Yes. So yeah, we just need enough doors. So they've been handing out a lot of ADU permits. So
yeah. No, it's interesting, and definitely through some of the organizations we're a part of, we get to be able to keep up with that and understand and be able to articulate it to our clients, that we know what's happening in the law and on the local and state and federal level.
Totally.
And so I think that's so important. It's a value add too.
And I know that you're very passionate about this too, is that we love this place that we live, and we want to keep it the way it is, and we want it to evolve in the right direction. And the only way we do that is to graduate the next leaders and find the next leadership in the community. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, yes. Which is not an easy task.
It's not an easy task.
So, yes.
I mean, you look at all the people on city council right now, that they have the best interest of the people, and they care about the city so much, and they're huge shoes to fill in the future.
Right.
And so that's why I love the Newport Beach Foundation, because it has the goal of finding the next people to replace these great leaders that we have right now, and find them so that we can keep moving in the right direction.
Right. So, Drew, can I ask you 2 more questions before we wrap up today? So, first one is, I would like you to let us know what you would want your clients to know about you, if you haven't shared already. And then the second is, what is their experience going to be like working with you?
Perfect. So, first and foremost, I am an agent that has the utmost best interest in their client, no matter what that means. So if it's not right for my client, let's move on. We'll find something better. And that's what I want everybody to know. And I also will hustle tirelessly. I'm available on weekends, at nights, any day around the clock to make this happen for you. So I want everybody to know that I'm available 24/7, and we will have the successful results that you're looking for.
Well, it's been great talking to you today. We'll have to do it again.
Yes. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And look forward to hearing about the changes coming up, this next coming year. So we'll do it again.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay.
All right.